Thanks for downloading a 3CR podcast. 3CR is an independent community radio station based in Melbourne, Australia. We need your financial support to keep going. Go to www.3cr.org.au for more information and to donate online. Now stay tuned for your 3CR podcast.
Hello and welcome to Lost in Science for another week. We are blasting off on another week of science. I mean, it's a pretty special week because, we've had some astronauts return from a lunar mission. Anyway, more on that soon. My name is Claire. Thank you for being here with us. And with me this week, Linden. Hello.
Hello, Claire. Yeah, the space. So much focus outwards in the last couple of weeks, but also looking down on us. I'm looking forward to talking about Artemis with you because I've got mixed feelings. What aspect of Artemis do you want to talk about today?
Well, I mean, there's been a lot that I'm sure our listeners have heard about Artemis. So I wanted to focus us in on a little bit more local and talk about Australia's contribution to Artemis II and just space exploration and NASA lunar exploration in general a little bit. Take us back there. And yeah, just sort of have a think about what is going to happen because this is just one of many Artemis missions. So what's going to be happening and what's Australia's contribution going to be into the future? Spoiler alert, it has something to do with a kangaroo.
What? Oh my God. If you're going to tell me someone's going to fling a
launch
kangaroo
a kangaroo
onto the
into
moon.
space, it's not that, Linden. It's not that, but you're going to have to stay tuned. Linden, what have you got for us this week?
Well, it's a big week for lots of different types of science. It's a big month, actually, for not only Artemis, NASA-based moon exploration-related science, but citizen science.
Oh, yeah.
April, I'm sure you know this, Claire. I'm sure it's in your diary. April is Citizen Science Month around the world, where citizen science organizations, citizen science projects try to promote themselves and get as much action and engagement as possible. So I thought it would be worth exploring some fantastic citizen science that was awarded recently in Australia, which is space related. So we'll stay on that space theme. And then some other activities that if you're interested in not looking up, but looking across, looking down, looking in, then there's plenty of other projects for you to get involved in as well.
Oh, fantastic. I love Citizen Science Month. It's so great. On with the show.
In the history of science, novel and innovative concepts occasionally arise from sudden left-field inspiration.
Nothing shocks me. I'm a scientist.
But I'd rather be remembered for my own small contributions to science.
As a scientist, I don't want to prejudice my experiment. I'll let you know in the morning.
I am a scientist!
I think they're scientists.
I bring scientists, you bring a rock star.
You're on 3CR, listening to Lost in Science.
So, Linden, as you and the rest of the world are probably aware, on April 1st, 2026, Artemis II launched humans back into a lunar mission, back around the moon. So it was the first crewed lunar mission to go and do the same thing, circle around the Earth and come back, since Apollo 8 did it in 1968. And yes, and there were 4 astronauts on board. 4 great astronauts, Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen. And this included, it was a pretty historic moment for many reasons, including the diversity of the astronauts. There was the first person of colour, the first female astronaut, and the first Canadian, so not American, on a lunar mission. And, this is all probably stuff that you've heard before. The goal of Artemis II was to orbit the Earth to test the systems that NASA have in place and to pretty much pave the way for a lunar landing sometime in around 2028. So that's just a couple of years away. They got to hop to it, I would say.
My understanding is that the Artemis program is kind of blowing out in time and money. I wonder whether that's going to keep pushing and pushing out like so many
100%.
projects do. And I mentioned at the top of the show that, there's mixed feelings about this mission. It's been amazing to see people come together and amazing to see so much diversity and so many beautiful images. But some of the messaging that's coming out of NASA around we're going up there to kind of stake America's claim and claim the moon for America. And a few articles I've read have spoken about this being a launching pad to then set up shop on the moon. Although there are treaties around areas of a country can't own a piece of space, but I don't think there's anything stopping countries extracting resources like frozen water on the moon. Yeah, all of those sorts of things. I'm so inspired, but also scared at the same time.
Yes.
Tell me something good about it.
Well, yeah, and I think some of the commentary around it is worrying in that it is like whoever gets there first sets the rules for any future exploration and sets the rules for exploitation of resources and what it's going to be like. So there's always been a race element to lunar travel and lunar missions, and that hasn't changed.
Yeah, true.
But the one thing that I did want to talk about today is not necessarily that aspect of it, but the fact that so this mission has a heavily scientific element, and a lot of scientists and a lot of expertise in Australia have been fundamental to the success of this. So, yeah, there's like America wanting to stake their claim on the lunar surface, and then there's like, well, but also it's amazing to see Australia's, I guess, our scientific minds broaden and our confidence grow in this space, which has been growing for the since NASA probably put Apollo 8 into lunar orbit. So that's what I wanted to talk about today.
Okay.
Sort of like
all right.
the Australian aspect.
Yep.
But
I'll
I
put my
think
Debbie
we should
Downer hat down.
but I think we should keep that in mind, because that's always, especially at this time, when there's a lot of conflicts going on around the world.
Yeah.
And, a lot of, we're hitching our cart to a certain superpower that's doing ill-advised things. So, so there. So some of the sort of scientific minds that have played this critical role in the mission, and the satellite dish that's been a real epicenter of Artemis II. It's literally down the road from me, Linden. It's like, I live in Canberra, and it's in the Australian Capital Territory. This big satellite dish that's been playing this huge part in the Artemis II mission. So maybe I'm also just a little bit like, yeah,
That's fair.
Go local scientist.
Go local dish, go.
Go local dish.
That.
Yeah.
So what is the role it's playing though? Which dish are we talking about? We're not talking about parks.
No, we're not talking about parks, but I will come back to parks, because that was big in the old moon landing in '69. But yeah, so when you're heading into space, you need to communicate with Earth, and you need to do so from a number of locations, especially when you're going into deep space. So you can't just talk to NASA headquarters. You have to be able to talk to a number of different locations around the world and around the globe. And without these ground stations, there would be no telemetry. So that's like the data that's collected from space and transmitted back to Earth. There's also no voice and no video. if you don't have these ground stations, these huge satellites that are able to pick up this information. So when you are in low orbit, when you are a rocket in low orbit and at launch, you are under the auspices of the Near Space Network, and they're the ones who are communicating with you. But as soon as you head out into outer orbit and head off to the moon, as soon as the astronauts headed off to the moon, they are in communication with the Deep Space Network. And that is a series of satellite dishes around the world, and specifically in Canberra at the Canberra Deep Space Communication Complex, which is located in Tidbinbilla. If you've ever been to Tidbinbilla, it's also the home of Ripper the musk duck, who swears at you. But anyway, that's that's a.
I hope he's not swearing at the astronauts in deep space.
I just love it that the world's only talking duck and the Deep Space Communication Complex are in the same national park area. I just love that. Anyway, it's about 30 minutes drive from Canberra.
Okay.
So at the site, there are giant dishes. They're about between 34 and 64 meters, and they send and receive data across thousands of kilometers. So they support astronaut communications, spacecraft health data, and live video back to Earth. Now, this network is also supported by two other large satellite networks in the Deep Space Network. They're in Spain and California. And because scientists are people too, they need to sleep and they need to go offline. So Australia operates other systems remotely when the scientists in California and Spain need to sleep. So there is that sort of like time zone. We'll take over now. You go have a rest. Yeah.
So these satellite dishes, this Deep Space Network, it's not just sitting around waiting for our fabulous 4 Artemis II astronauts to go into space. Are they working with the International Space Station as well? Is that considered deep space? I must confess, this mission has really made me aware of how far away the moon is. But I don't quite know where I don't quite know where the ISS sits. Or are they like, do they talk to Voyager that's way out in the way away? Like,
yes, it has. So it's supported Voyager, New Horizons, basically every NASA deep space mission. I don't know about the ISS. I'm not quite sure. I don't think so. But it's been operating since the 1970s. And it's been in constant operation. It's operated by the CSIRO. And fun fact, just back to the dish, let's just talk pop culture for a second. So the dish told the story of Australia's role in providing the first pictures of man on the moon, right? But it wasn't actually the Parkes satellite dish that did that. I don't know why they put it in Parkes. It was actually that happened in the Australian Capital Territory, in the ACT.
That was at Tidbinbilla.
Well, it was a place just across the road and a little bit down called Honeysuckle Creek. But that site closed in 1981, and then the giant 26-metre antenna from that location was relocated down the road to Tidbinbilla, and then they named that site the Deep Space Station 46. So pretty much it's that site, which makes it a little bit more whimsical and fun as well. But for whatever reason, the producers and the directors of the dish were not ready to put the location of that film in Canberra. I don't know. Maybe there's some Canberra bias going on here.
No wonder that duck swears. I'd be swearing too if I'd missed my moment in the spotlight as a duck.
Totally. And some more bonus Australian science in the Artemis mission. So the ANU, the Australian National University's Mount Stromlo Observatory, was also involved in the Artemis II mission. They were testing laser communications with the mission. So laser communications, light being famously fast at communicating, faster than radio waves, is the future of space communication. So they were doing a bunch of testing on that. So that's quite exciting. And our involvement with these lunar missions, it's not receding over the coming years. We signed the Artemis Accords in 2020 around these missions. So we will be seeing growing national space ambitions as the mission objectives develop as well. And I did mention the kangaroo, didn't I?
You did.
Didn't mention the kangaroo. So that is our development of a lunar rover. But it's not called a rover, is it? No, it's called a rover.
Oh.
I know.
Kind of proud and embarrassed in equal amounts.
No, I know. It's so cringe.
But is it shaped like a roo? Like, is it using
No,
the
it's
structure of a
not.
kangaroo
It's-
with a long tail to keep it steady?
No,
okay.
it's just a funny name. Just a funny name. So the lunar rover is a $42 million project, and that will be sent on a future NASA mission. And is designed to collect lunar soil. Lunar soil, if you didn't know the name of it, is called regolith. Regolith, space rock.
I didn't know that.
No, neither did I. So yeah, so that's it's designed to support the extraction of that and collect it and be able to test it.
Is it being done by the Australian Space Agency, developing the rover?
Yep.
That was part of the Artemis Accord.
It was part of the Artemis Accords, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, the rover is ours to contribute. It's our marsupial on the moon. Yeah.
One small step for man, one giant hop for humankind.
I think we're lost.
We're not lost.
Not even any short-range radio signals yet?
Except for a single, very powerful radio emission.
Of course, a transmitter of that sort isn't exactly standard equipment.
Science and technology must be absolutely mind-boggling.
Of course, that's mostly on the theoretical side.
What's so far?
Welcome back. You're listening to Lost in Science, and Claire gave us a wonderful overview of Australia's involvement in the Artemis mission and the Artemis program. I mentioned at the top of the show that this month is Citizen Science Month, and I thought it was worth mentioning a few amateur astronomers, maybe they would consider themselves citizen scientists, who recently were awarded a prize by the Astronomical Society of Australia, the Berenice and Arthur Page Medal, for their excellence in amateur astronomy. Did you hear about this one, Claire?
No, I didn't. Tell me more.
So these three gentlemen, Jonathan Bradshaw, Renato Langasek, and John Broughton, were the first amateur astronomers ever to discover a planetary ring. So these were three guys in separate places in southeast Queensland in 2021, and they were all watching as this dwarf planet, the name of the dwarf planet, I'll spell it out and then you see if you can say it out loud. Quaoar. Quaoar.
Wow.
Quaoar.
Quaoar?
It's a dwarf planet in the Kuiper Belt anyway. So it's about half the size of Pluto. And it was discovered in 2002 by astronomers in America. But in 2021, these three astronomers were in amateur astronomers were in southeast Queensland, and they were watching as Quaoar passed in front of a distant star, right? And initially the three of them were looking through their telescopes to try to see an occultation observation, which is when an object, in this case the dwarf planet, goes in front of a star, and then that star casts a shadow the size of the object onto the Earth's surface. So they were looking for that. But the group knew that they weren't quite in the right position for the shadow path, but they all saw a weird blip, and then they were able to put that together and realize that what they had seen was a ring around this planet.
Wow.
Which
the data exoplanet.
Right. It's a dwarf planet.
Oh, it's a dwarf planet, sorry.
Yeah. Right on the in the Kuiper Belt, which is on the outer rim of our solar system. So yeah, there's sort of this planetary ring of dust going around this little dwarf planet that hadn't been noticed before. And thanks to these three amateur astronomers, we now know about it. So these three astronomers were co-awarded this this prize from the Astronomical Society of Australia. This is a medal that was set up named after the Pages, Berenice and Arthur Page, who were fabulous amateur astronomers in Australia in the 1970s. And I think it's really great that this professional society has an amateur astronomer prize, because citizen science is a field that is, you know, growing bigger and bigger. It has been around for a really long time, right? If you think of citizen science as science that is done by people who aren't professional scientists, right? You could call it participatory science, community science, maybe kind of field naturalist work if you're looking in the biological space. There's so many different ways that people who don't have science as their job can get involved. And so this month, I guess, is about really celebrating that and encouraging people to get engaged. So you name it, there is a citizen science project out there that you can get involved with. If you care about turtles, there's a project that is called A Million More Turtles.
Oh, okay. And is there a website that sort of that you can go to that lists all the citizen science?
Yes, SciStarter is a good place to go to. That's an international website, and you can look through Australian pages. There's also an Australian Citizen Science Association, and they have a really good list of active projects. A lot of them are, you know, go out and take observations in various places. You know, of course, there's probably the biggest one in Australia would be the backyard bird count that happens in the later half of the year, where there's 10 days or so where people are encouraged by BirdLife Australia to take observations of birds in their backyard. But there's so many other ones. This project I was talking about, 1 Million Turtles, where this is run by a researcher out of La Trobe. People of all ages can download an app and record information about turtles. And to date, the citizen scientists involved have saved more than 2,500 turtles from dangerous road crossings and logged nearly 34,000 turtle records from across the country, which is pretty amazing. There's another project. Oh, you might know of this one already, actually. Frog ID, which is run out of the Australian Museum. And this is an app where you can submit audio recordings of frogs, and 13 new frog species have been discovered as a part of this project, which is pretty cool.
That is incredible. I have submitted quite a few recordings, as has my partner. I'm distancing myself from that recording because when it came back on the one that he recorded, it came back as cricket, not frog. Came back as, this is a cricket.
Please don't contact us again.
Please, you've been blacklisted. No. They were very lovely about it.
You know, if nature's not your thing, you know, amateur astronomy, there's plenty of ways that as we've seen, your hobbies can contribute to active scientific research. And more in the citizen science space, it really is co-designed participatory science, where a community is saying, hey, we've noticed this, we're interested in this. Come on, scientist who works at a uni, get your butt over here and help us out. Like, just help us refine the technique a little bit or refine the methodology, and then we'll go and do it. You know, there's some real value in that, in respecting different types of expertise, I suppose, right? Community expertise as well as academic expertise. But maybe you don't want to get off the couch. Maybe you can't be bothered. There's also heaps of projects you can do while still sitting down. And I recommend the Zooniverse page for that. That's another international website where there's so many projects you can do, whether it's scanning pictures that were taken from various telescopes to look for new types of planets or new types of space structures. You can rescue old weather observations by typing up old handwritten numbers in places like Italy, New Zealand, and Africa, all these different places around the world. You can look for pictures of different species. You can look at wildlife camera footage to try to find endangered species. There's so many different things you can do. Some require a lot of you, some don't require much of you, some you can dip in and out of, some you can get your schools involved with. Keep an eye out on for citizen science activities all month, because now's as good a time as any to use your powers for good.
Thanks for listening to a 3CR podcast. 3CR is an independent community radio station based in Melbourne, Australia. We need your financial support to keep going. Go to www.3cr.org.au for more information and to donate online.